Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today I will be reviewing Stranger Things 3 The Game. This title is developed and published by BonusXP and is available on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, PC, Mac, iOS, and Android. I personally played it on the Xbox Series X via backwards compatibility. This game is a really fun retro-style game based on the third season of the TV show. I enjoyed the show for the most part, and the game is an excellent companion. You go through the story of the show, but with more combat and unique takes on villains as boss fights. You can collect money that you spend on items, you can craft new stuff at crafting benches, and you can play as almost every main character, who each have their own unique playstyles and abilities. Some characters also have specific elemental damage that goes along with their attacks. Also, you can switch between unlocked characters at the press of a button. There is a co-op feature, but I played through it solo. And I gotta say, there are controls that let you control the AI companion, like direct them what to do, and they're pretty good for, at least getting through all the puzzles and all that. One of my favorite parts is the fact there are some references to older movies. Specifically, there's a really interesting mission in a hospital, where you can read patient charts on the outside of their rooms. And those charts will give you movie references. For example, one of them is R. Balboa, and it says something along the lines of, injured from blunt trauma to the head. And that's a reference to Rocky Balboa from the Rocky movies and him being hurt in one of his fights. I think my favorite one is probably M. Body, and the note says, dead on arrival, cause and location of death unknown. Of course, this is a reference to the board game Clue, and by extension, the movie adaptation of Clue. And I really enjoyed that. Clue is a great game. But anyway, back to this game. This game can get pretty challenging in places, in both combat and puzzles. The combat part might be because I'm not the best at maximizing my stats with the items. And I will admit I had to check walkthroughs for some puzzles and I needed the help of the internet for a couple of boss fights. The game's not that long, but that's alright. And if you do want replay value, there is backtracking. So you unlock new characters as you go through the story, and you can revisit old areas and use your new character's abilities to enter new sections or get through doors and stuff like that. One of my favorite parts is the side quests. Most of them are a lot of fun. The most notable one is where you go and help out this old lady to do some chores, but by the end of the mission you end up fighting her because she is being mind controlled by the main villain of the game. That's not the memorable part though. The memorable part is that while you're doing the chores before you realize she's mind controlled, you can look at these pictures on the wall, and when you click on them, the characters will make comments about them. Through these pictures, you learned that this lady is off her rocker and that she killed her husband before she was mind-controlled. So there was already freaky stuff going on here before the big mind-controlling monster shows up. Alright, but now we do got to go on to the flaws of the game. The only major flaw that I had was that they included the sex jokes and near adultery subplot from the show. They aren't a major part, but they are there. And the problem is the game doesn't have the context of the show, where it had the plot line of this woman almost cheating on her husband. But in the show, at least, it shows that she decides against it by seeing that her husband is a good father and a good man, and she decides to remain faithful. So the show, at least, had a full closure and a story arc and a character arc there, but the game doesn't have that. And again, it's only really minorly mentioned, and it does tie into one of the missions, and that's just the major flaw I had with the game. And another issue is that every once in a while the game would freeze and then resume shortly after. Now again, this is nothing game breaking, but it happened frequently enough that I thought it was worth mentioning. Alright, so then let's talk a little bit more about the gameplay. It's pretty simple. You have two attacks. One is your standard attack, which is A on the Xbox controller. Then X on the Xbox controller corresponds to like an ultimate or super or specialist. It's something that you have to use energy for. You get energy by either it being randomly dropped or drinking new Coke, which is a reference to the show again. Health is not auto-regen. You have health packs, and you got to manage those. And one person's super ability, which is Max, she actually can deploy health, which is very useful if you don't have any of that. One notable thing, if you're playing solo, you can use Y on an Xbox controller and activate the AI character's superpower, like the charge attack, the energy attack, whatever you want to call it. So you can use that to your advantage. So yeah, the gameplay overall is pretty simple, but there is complexity in the form of the items. You can equip different items to boost your stats. Now, a lot of these items will make certain party members stronger, but it won't help others. For example, fire starters will boost characters that have fire damage, but it won't help anyone who doesn't. Some items boost physical damage, some boost shock damage. So you want to figure out who you're going in with. For most of the game, I played with 11 as my main character. She has shock damage, so I equipped an item that has shock damage bonus. And just a general tip, Nancy Wheeler is also a good character to play as because her special attack has really, really solid damage, even if you don't have any physical attack boosting items. Will Byers is also surprisingly solid. He has, I believe, built-in fire damage because he uses like fireworks as his weapons. So yeah, whenever I was using Will, I threw on some fire damage increasing items. So yeah, that's where the complexity does come in, is with these items. Certain items do boost everybody. Examples being ones that will boost defense, give you a longer window for blocking or speed boosting items. I liked using the speed boosting ones because, it's just nice to speed boost. Also, another note, at least on the Series X, this game loads really fast, and that's really nice. But yeah, you get to explore different areas of the town from the show. You get to have some fun combat encounters, a decent amount of challenge. All this said, this game is kind of a surprise hit for this year. And when I say this year, I mean I played it this year. It actually released in 2019. Also, just a note, you'd probably be really lost if you haven't seen the show, so keep that in mind if you plan to play this game. But yeah, I really enjoyed Stranger Things, the game, and I give it a very solid review. Like I said, there are some flaws, but if you can get past those, this is a really fun game. Thank you for checking out this video. Feel free to like and subscribe if you feel like it. And feel free to suggest any other games you'd like me to review down in the comments below, or any other videos you'd like to see in general. So yeah, thank you for checking out the video, and have a wonderful day.